I got a degree in marketing, and I was looking to go advertise, like maybe get an internship in an ad agency. I'm like, this doesn't pay anything. Like, maybe I go into sales, make more money, and that was actually the perfect training ground, right? Because then you have all these accounts that you then go sit down and you're trying to put an ad strategy together for them.
You'll baptize them by fire.
Yeah, right. and there was a lot of that, right?
This podcast is sponsored by
the patent attorney Charles McCloskey, the best patent attorney in the St. Louis area. The patent application process can be complex and confusing. It's easy to make mistakes that could jeopardize not only your patent, but your entire valuable idea. Patent attorney Charles McCloskey will get you the patent protection you need to bring your invention to market. Call him for a consultation, 636-527-9962.
Tell us about yourself.
What is the Network-a-thon?
The Network-a-thon.
What is the Network-a-thon?
Network-a-thon is the premier business networking event in St. Louis.
So, why should I attend the next Network-a-thon?
It's free, and we personally introduce you to your ideal referrals. And now, on to the Network-a-thon podcast.
Welcome to another Network-a-thon podcast. I'm your host, Ted, and I'm here with Shoo. There you go.
Hanging out with lots of people enjoying coffee and tea at the Higher Grounds coffee place in the basement of Zion Lutheran Church for Network-a-thon.
Network-a-thon, where everybody's rubbing elbows and talking to each other about this, that, and the other thing.
And an occasional shin kick, just for the fun.
Yeah, just occasional shin kick. We're lucky enough to be talking with Mike Rose. Mike Rose, what do you do?
I own Afflecto Media Marketing. We're a full-service marketing and advertising agency.
Oh, there you go. And so where are you guys located? What's your perfect business you guys are working with?
We're out in Chesterfield, and more than 50% of our billing is in the healthcare field.
Okay.
It could be anybody in that industry. We have Performance Eye Care in St. Louis. It has a ton of locations, and they're growing. We've worked in the bariatric weight loss space for over a decade with various programs, pain management clinics.
Oh, there you go.
And then, like we always say, like we really know marketing. Like both me and the owner in the business has more than 20 years of experience in the field, degrees in it. Have worked on the brand side, on the agency side. I've worked even on the vendor side, so we have a really good understanding of all sides of the media business. So we can really sit down with somebody and put a strategy together and then also execute on each piece, right?
With your perfect client, it's basically a brick and mortar healthcare company of some sort?
It doesn't have to be. We've also just done e-commerce websites.
Got it.
That's actually something we just launched a couple months ago that we rebranded and then launched. So we do that too, actually.
Okay. And then talk about the range of services that you guys provide for those companies. What do you guys do?
Really anything that they would need. So my personal background, because Facebook and paid search and Google didn't even exist when I started in the industry, it is in broadcast, right? Like if you wanted to market locally, radio, 18 years ago, it was radio. And that's where I got a degree in marketing, and I was looking to go advertise like maybe get an internship in an ad agency. I'm like, this doesn't pay anything. Like, maybe I go into sales, make more money, and that was actually the perfect training ground, right? Because then you have all these accounts that you then go sit down and you're trying to put an ad strategy together for them.
You'll baptize them by fire.
Yeah, right. and there was a lot of that, right? But you had no choice. If you attrition is the biggest thing in media sales, right? Like, if you can't keep your accounts, then you're going to be doing nothing but selling. I don't really like selling, to be honest. So I was like, why don't I just find a way to make this work for people?
Right.
And
Absolutely.
then I'm like, okay, I'll target people that make the most sense for the medium. I'll learn how to write copy, and I just started picking up blogs and anything I could find, even at the very beginning. This guy Wizard of Ads, who's very well known in the industry, and I just read everything that he put out there, and then I started applying it to ads that I was writing for my clients, and it was working, and it was like that just kind of started building it, and my clients started noticing it. And that's kind of like what started the agency years ago. Is one of my clients in radio was like, hey, you're doing a better job in my agency. How about you start doing this for me?
So here at Network-a-thon, you're sort of rubbing elbows with small businesses and entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. You work with those guys, and what would you give as a recommendation to them? Like, if they're just either starting out or they're just beginning, I would say within the first 3 years of their business, in regards to marketing, where should they be with their marketing?
I would say don't. It's hard, right? Your first 2-3 years in business. I mean, I've been there too. You don't have revenue coming in yet, and all the money's going out the door.
Yeah. Right.
So it's hard to spend a lot of money on your branding, but having to rebrand is expensive, and you don't want to do that later. So invest in your logo, tagline, your qualifier. Like your qualifier is like what your business is or does, right? And your tagline is your differentiator. Right. Put a lot of time and effort into that, and find a way to hire like a company like somebody like us that really knows what they're doing, and like get your branding just down for the company from the very beginning, so you don't have to like make it better later, right? Like how much do you think like Chesterfield Deck and Fence wishes they weren't called Chesterfield Deck and Fence now that they're all over St. Louis? Right. So that's kind of like the analogy that you would use. There's a lot of companies out there that have just the name of the city they started in, and now it's 30 years later or more, and they're in the second or third generation, and they still have the same name.
So the whole spectrum of all your clientele, I'm sure it's from like a startup to people that are a Chesterfield deck or whatever like that. Do you bring what your experience is, where you went into one thing and kind of pivoted and went into marketing stuff to help them grow their business differently, for people thinking like a startup may not know the trail that they need to go to, but a guy that's been doing the decks forever and needs to change their direction? How do you apply your own story to things and doing things like a Network-a-thon?
Well, I've seen it all over the years, right?
Sure.
So when you've worked with, I don't even know how you would say, both on the sales side, on the agency side, probably not just me, not even including my partner in the business and then employees. I mean, I've probably myself touched 250 different kinds of businesses in a lot of different industries. So I've seen what does and doesn't work, and I actually learned a lot from the business owners I talk to.
Yeah.
And they'll tell me, even in like meetings when we first sit down, like, hey, I've tried this, it doesn't work, but I did try this, and like this worked really well. So it's like, think of all the money that both like we've spent on behalf of clients or clients have spent on behalf of themselves, and what are they doing, right? They're doing what everybody would tell you to do in digital marketing, what we do too. They're A/B testing or ABC testing, different types of creative, different mediums. So like we sit down and just really do a deep needs analysis with every client and ask them, what have they done that's worked, what hasn't worked? And then you can say, well, here's what I've seen from people in your industry and other industries that hasn't worked, and that's how you really start to put a strategy together.
I guess part of what I was trying to get at is because there's people who've done the tried and true. I've always done this, the email blast. I said this earlier to another person that we were speaking with, but sometimes they don't understand that technology and things can actually help them instead of hinder them, that some things that may work for a particular person may not work for the other, whether it's a click funnel or an email blast or stuff like that. You have to super serve your client, and I guess I'm getting at your experience, the years of what you pivoted on and applying that to them, or are you just here to serve them when you're coming to your marketing approach to things? I know it's a big loaded question, but there's a lot of different, because things are either younger people are living on their phones, old people are used to getting a mailer or something in their mailbox kind of thing.
Well, it all depends on your buyer persona of who they're trying to target, right?
Right.
So if it is somebody you're selling hearing aids to, then let's keep advertising in the newspaper. Why would you not do that? It's all about you're following the audience.
Right. Totally.
Cool.
In regards to the name Afflecto, where did that come from?
It's a good question. A couple different places. So I went through a rebrand myself years ago. For a while, I started the agency while living on the West Coast. So back then it was called West Coast Media Solutions, and then ended up moving back to the Midwest. So that wasn't going to work anymore.
Right.
Speaking of like experience of things I've learned over the years about branding.
Yeah.
We were sitting down and brainstorming all these different names for our agency, and of course everything's taken, right? Like there's so many agencies out there that do tons of different services, just whether it's digital or broadcast or print or what have you. So we ended up having to pivot. We're like, let's go to Latin, and we started looking at Latin, and which old brainstorming technique, right? You have to pivot if all the options that you want are gone. And I also, if you think of all the listings for every industry, but also agencies, they're almost always alphabetical. So like in all the agency listings out there, I'm like, I want to be A. And then we started looking at all these A's and like, what are we really doing for our clients? So Afflecto in Latin is actually, the definition of Afflecto is affect, move, influence to a course of change.
Oh, look at that.
Hey. That's getting deep. Yeah.
So our qualifier and our logo is media marketing, because that's what we do. And then our tagline is affect, move, influence, which is pulled straight out of the definition of Afflecto.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool logo as well. All right. So if Michael, if someone wanted to get a hold of you and Afflecto marketing, how do they do that?
It's best just to email me directly.
Okay.
At mrose@afflectomm.com.
Afflectomm.com. And just so the layman knows, how do you spell Afflecto?
AFFLECTO, and then MM, which is the mediamarketing.com.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for talking with us, bud.
I appreciate it. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right.
When the podcast returns, we will be speaking with Mark Breimer from Office Supply Solutions right after this.
Ready to explore St. Louis in a unique, hassle-free way? How about on an innovative 3-wheeled electric trike with Trike STL guided tours? A self-balancing and battery-assisted machine that's also low impact on your body and fun. Visit TrikeSTL.com or call 314-4TRIKKE.
This podcast brought to you by
Office Supply Solutions. Office Supply Solutions combines the selection of all major office supply stores with the convenience of next-day delivery.
Office supplies including printer cartridges, paper, cleaning supplies, computers, and all types of office technology products.
Office Supply Solutions delivery hubs are stationed in most top 150 markets.
And we have over 1 million square feet of inventory.
Go to OfficeSupplySolutionsLLC.com to place your order today.
All right, Mark, let's talk about the Network-a-thon in regards to, let's say, sponsorship. Do you have sponsors? How do sponsors get involved? If you wanted to be a sponsor to the Network-a-thon, what would you do?
So if you'd like to be a sponsor, you can always reach out to us on the Network-a-thon website. We keep it to one person per profession, and we do vet all the sponsors who are interested. We have a variety of packages that start around the $250 range up to $5,000, depending on your involvement and how much publicity you're looking for and recognition.
Right. So those packages, what's awesome about it? Like, what do you love that people should be interested in sponsorship for?
Well, it's not just for one event. It's for the series, which is a 4-event series. Throughout the year, it's once a quarter, so that way some people are busier at certain times and might miss you, but they'll get you at least 2 or 3 of the quarters of the year.
Nice.
And it allows you to have the ability to work in the local market of people who are going to be looking for people with your profession or be able to refer you to people if they don't have a need for your products or services.
Give me 2 success stories that have happened here.
I had one person who does alarms. I think I got a $100,000 deal from showing up. Another person who is newer to networking, and a friend of theirs worked for me. They came up not knowing what they were going to get into. They said, what can I do here? I said, well, who do you want to meet? They said, financial advisors. I'm new to health insurance. They met 20 financial advisors in 3 hours and set up for coffee with all of them and couldn't get all the work done before open enrollment closed on them. Made their whole year in 3 hours at a free event.
Oh, wow.
The end.
If I were looking to come to a Network-a-thon, where would I go to find out when the next one is?
Network-a-thon.com.
Well, thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you, guys.
Join us for the next Network-a-thon and next live Network-a-thon podcast, Tuesday, October 24th, 2023.
The free Network-a-thon, the premier business networking event in St. Louis.
Go to the Network-a-thon website, networkathon.com, or call 314-227-6771.
Here's another AG Media Group production.
Create, connect, convert.